What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is the 7th day of our 100 days JavaScript random interview questions. So if you have been with us from day 1 up to now, I just want to say thank you so much for following along. Today's challenge is requesting us to create two functions, which is reverse array and reverse array in place. The first, which is reverse array, is going to take array as argument and produce a new array that has same elements in the inverse order. The second, which is reverse array in place, does what reverse method does. If you have to check reverse method in JavaScript, like okay, it modifies the arrays given as arguments by reversing its element. And if you are to just like contemplate a little bit on this word modify, which means it is not going to create any new array. It modify the current array, the original array. That is actually the entirety of the challenge we are supposed to work with. And mind you, like within all these two functions that we're going to create, we are not actually expected to use the original reverse method. So which means the reversing that we are going to use are going to be completely what we're going to create on our own. So without further ado, let's just jump right in and start writing code. So first of all, we need function. We're going to give a name for that function to be like reverse array. Okay, the function is going to be called reverse array, and it is taking array as argument. Okay, now like this, so we are going to say let new array, because we are actually working on the first, we are working on the first function, which is reverse array. Then after this we need to loop through. Okay, but first thing is that we are going to set the value of I to, let me say, array the length -1. Okay, then we are going to say is greater or equal to 0. If it is greater or equal to 0, then let that expression work like that. Then you're going to say I minus minus, which means like we are actually going to start iterating from the end to the beginning of the array. That is exactly what is happening here. If you have to see from our iteration here, actually the reason we use -1 is because, like, if you are to see the way we are counting in JavaScript or programming in general, we are starting from 0. So in order for us to get the last element of the array, we actually want to go, we need to go a step further. Like we need to take it to -1, which is the last, so to speak, the last index in the end of the elements in the array. So okay, like with that, then we'll say new array, which we have already like defined above. We'll say new array dot push. We are actually pushing the values of the elements which are going to be given through our iteration, okay, which are going to be produced as our iteration runs, so to speak. So that is that. Now we'll just come here and return, okay, and return the new array that we created. Yeah, like that. So okay, we return our new array here. So in order to test it, we first need to uncomment this and test it. So on testing, we'll see reference error, reverse array is not defined. Reverse array is not defined. Maybe there's spelling error somewhere. Let me just cross check it. Yeah, this is actually a spelling error. Okay, yeah, that is that. It is CBA. It is giving us exactly what we want, and yeah, that is it. And as I was explaining earlier, here in this loop, it just like loops through the array of that given elements, then it picks the last element, then here it pulls the elements produced from here into this new array. And on pushing here, since here it is like iterating from the end to beginning, then it is pushing, like suppose if it is ABC, it will start pushing from C goes first, then after this, let me say B, then after this A. And that is exactly what's happening here if we have to see from this one here. So yeah, that is it for the first function. So the second function here is going to be like function is going to reverse array. Okay, let me say today I'm writing in place. Okay, it's going to reverse array in place, just like the same upper function. It also takes array as input. Then here we are going to loop by saying let I equal to 0. Okay, then we will say I is less than math.flow, flow supposed to be floor, yeah, floor, like that. Then what we need here is the length of that specific array. Okay, what is actually happening here? If we are to see here, what is happening is that we are going to iterate. Okay, we are going to loop through that specific array, but until we reach the middle of that array, will not stop. And that is like the normal iteration, but we just want to loop through a half of that array, not the entire array. We just need a half of that array we are going to loop through. So now we are going to say we are going to create like a temporary variable that is going to hold all the old values, so to speak. Like suppose we'll say let old here, and we'll now assign it to array and array of I, because that is exactly the elements, that is exactly what indicate the elements which are like coming out of this iteration. So yeah, with that, that is that. So one thing that we need to do is this: in order to like achieve what we want, we first need to like try to reverse, like to, let me say, assign a value to that specific index that we have actually given here. If we are to see this, like we have a placeholders here, like if we are to print it, this is telling us what array 1 is, array 2, array 3, array 0, or everything is here and up to the middle of this whatever. But what we are doing here is now we are going to use this value. Okay, then we are going to reverse it, so to speak. We're going to reverse it, like change it to its opposite direction, so to speak. So that is going to be something like this. We're going to say array. Okay, then here we're going to say array, then we are going to say array dot length. Okay, like that. Then one thing that we are going to do is we are going to minus 1 and minus I. Okay, if we are to see from this expression. And what this one here is doing, this line here is doing is this. Like this line, a specific line assigns the value of elements to the opposite end of the array. Okay, to the opposite end of the array, then from the opposite end of the array to array of I, which is that specific value that we actually put it in, that we assign it to the old variable up there. Okay, that is exactly what we are doing here. Like for example, if I is 0, then this value, this specific line will assign the value of the last element of the array to be like array of zeros. And if I is 1, then the same thing will happen, and it goes on and goes on. So one thing I need to show is this. Suppose, imagine we just return array here. We return array here. Okay, and if we come down here and uncomment it, I don't know if my explanation is really going well, but yeah, I'm actually trying to explain so that you can understand it in the easiest way possible, so to speak. So okay, now if I run this, okay, if I run this, you will notice here it is producing 5 4, which is supposed it is going in the right direction, 3, which is actually in the right direction, but reaching here, instead of giving us 2 and 1, it is giving us 4 and 5. It is actually the rating here, the length is correct. Okay, the length is correct. Changing this thing to opposite is right. But now the thing is, it is holding the placeholder. Okay, it is holding the placeholder, but the values are random. Like it doesn't have that specific value. Okay, that is specific value based on the placeholder of that specific value. What do I mean by that? Okay, let's add one snippet of code here, then I will show you exactly what I mean by that. Like here, if we are supposed to say array, okay, And here we say array dot length, just like what we did above, length, not long. Okay, length, just like what we did above, -1 minus I, just like what we did above. Okay, then assign this to the original value which is in old. Okay, and we assign this to the original value which is in old. This actually, this expression up to here is the same thing we have up here. If we can look closely, it is just another way of saying, okay, these placeholders here, assign it to match whatever the values which this one is giving here. And now if we run it, okay, if we run it now, we are going to see like it is now giving us 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Why? Because now here, okay, it now found out like the specific values for those placeholders, okay, which already are being iterated through here. Because if we are to see here in this, it iterates like the half of that whatever. Specifically, if we give like these 5 items, because we use this math.flow here, math.flow here, then this math.flow here convert that thing to be an integer value. It is not going to be like a floating value anymore, like to have it as small places, so to speak. So that is why, like, out of that, we can be able to get, okay, here is specifically from this, we got these two, whatever, these two values. And the placeholders of those values are here, which actually are being represented by that. And by putting this here now, it just maps those ones to, it is a specific value, so to speak. And that is why we get this as output. Yeah, I'm quite sure, like, I've come through with the explanation, but I'm not really sure if you really understand the entirety of this concept. But if you don't understand exactly what I'm talking about and a specific part of this thing that you need to understand, just comment below and I will personally try to reply exactly what you didn't understand when it comes to this context. So yeah, this is like the first function and the second function. We have already written both of them, and all of them are working very well according to the expectations of what we were given in the question. If you enjoy this video and you want to see more contents like this, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button, because with that, you can be able to send this video to many other people out there who actually want to watch this exact video. And with this, it has brought us to the end of this video. And as always, see you in the next video. Bye.